Hey guys, it's Lauren Ratcliffe. How are you doing? Today is March the 16th, 2025, and it's a nice spring day up here in eastern Kentucky. And I do want to talk about something, once again, related to autism. This time, I want to talk about an experience that I had back in 2010. As most of you all know, I was diagnosed on the autism spectrum back when it was considered to be very rare. I was diagnosed with a condition called pervasive developmental disorder when I was 5, and 7 years later, when I was 12, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. That's when it was listed in diagnostic criteria, and I've struggled a lot with that. And one of my many struggles that I have had with autism is being misunderstood whenever I felt sick for any reason. In 2010, I had appendicitis. I was 28 years old, and it was in May that this happened. 9 months earlier, I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis after 15 years of showing symptoms of endometriosis. So how did my appendicitis journey start? I came home from school. I was still in college at the time, and I was having this pain in my abdomen. I didn't think that it was anything to worry about. I thought it was my endometriosis, because when I had the worst flares of my endometriosis, it would cause me excruciating abdominal pain that would double me over. And there was a lot going on that week that I started feeling the symptoms of appendicitis. My gynecologist had just placed me on Lupron, and it was finals week at school, and I had just started a new summer class for the summer season, a summer literature class, and I just started not feeling real well. It happened on a Thursday. Like, I've been having some signs a little bit. So this Thursday morning, I went to school just like I always did, but I've been having some belly pain. I took my final for my ethics class, and the professor later talked to me, met me in the hallway, said I got a B in the class. So I was like, thank goodness. And after lunch, my classes were over with for the day, and I left and went home and was just not feeling good, and my belly continued to hurt, and it continually got worse. And I told my mom that I was really sick and my belly was hurting, and it just wasn't getting any better. And my family believes in trying to tough things out. I was always taught that I need to try to tough things out. And why was I trying to tough this out? Because one time in 7th grade, my dad got on to me for leaving class because I thought I got sick. And at that time, I did think I got sick when I was in 7th grade. And it really hurt my feelings that he said anything to me about coming home when I thought I was getting sick one day at school, and I felt better within a few hours of coming home. It really stuck with me. And when you're on the autism spectrum, you remember things that most people would forget about. So as for my appendicitis journey, the pain continued to get worse. I laid in bed for pretty much the whole weekend, from like Thursday on through Sunday. I was planning on seeing my gynecologist. I was getting really concerned about the pain, and I was taking round-the-clock pain medicine. And I told my mom when she came home from work that Thursday evening that the pain started, said there's something not right. And she touched me in the area of where the appendix is located and told me that she felt like it was appendicitis. And I said, Mom, what if it's nothing? I don't want to go to the emergency room and get checked out if there's nothing seriously wrong without consulting my gynecologist. So the whole weekend, in addition to like laying in the bed all the time and just watching TV and reading, and I had no energy. I was really fatigued, just felt horrible. And every time I would get up and walk around to do something, I'd be walking hunched over. And for me, it was like nothing unusual because endometriosis causes that type of pain, and I was no stranger to that type of pain. But I was getting really frustrated that it wasn't getting better. So by the time that the weekend ended, I felt like I needed to go to the emergency room just in case I couldn't get in with my gynecologist. So I've been up all night, agonizing, writhing in pain from that Sunday night. So about 6 o'clock in the morning, I get up and I go to the bathroom, and my dad meets me in the hallway, and he was like, what are you doing up all night and all that? Like, you kept us up all night. I said, there's something wrong with me. My belly is really hurting, and I'm going to have to go get it checked out. I don't know if he realized that what he was saying kind of hurt my feelings, but he was like, Lauren, can't you tolerate a little bit of pain? And I'm like, Dad, this has been going on for a while, and I think it needs to be checked out. And I don't care. I'm going to go get it checked out. I think it's all in my head. Hey, I want to get it checked out anyway, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to find what's wrong. So I walked in the shower, got in the shower, got dressed, brushed my teeth, and all that. And I said, Mom, I'm headed to the emergency room with you. There's something wrong. My mom was a nurse at the time, and she was going to go to work that morning, and she was an ER nurse. And she said, all right, Lauren, well, come on, get ready if you want to go with me, but don't eat nothing or take your medicine. So I didn't. I went on, packed my stuff just in case that I was going to have to stay. So they got me there. Well, there was one doctor there. Look, he was still on his night shift. He does like a ultrasound on my female parts because he knows that I had a history of endometriosis and was diagnosed with it via surgery, and like blood work on me and all that. Well, then another doctor comes in, and we told her all about my symptoms, all about my autism, all about my diagnosis of endometriosis. And because I wasn't like reacting like the typical patient with appendicitis, I was pretty calm. I was explaining my belly pain, and I felt like something was wrong. And I told him that I wanted something to eat because I don't do good when I don't eat. And it wasn't because I was hungry. I knew from times past, how I reacted when I don't eat good. And the doctor just took her time, and she was really listening to me and Mom, and she said, I don't feel good about discharging her without getting a CAT scan of her abdomen to check for appendicitis. It was like the Lord was telling that doctor that she should not discharge me. And if that would have been the other doctor that was on the staff before that doctor got in, then he would have probably discharged me and sent me home, because I was acting really strong for someone with appendicitis, because I had always been taught to be strong with pain and not to give in. And because of the way autistic people process pain, it can also cause miscommunications when they're trying to get help. So anyway, they got a CAT scan of my appendix. It was like right around 1 o'clock maybe. And my mom was the head nurse of the ER, and while I was waiting on the results of my CAT scan, they said I could go back and hang out in Mom's office until they got the results back. Well, then all of a sudden they got the results back of the ultrasound, and then my mom ends up calling Dad, and she's like, well, it's Lauren's ovaries and it's her endometriosis, and that we're going to send her home. So just as we were packing up to leave and walking out the door, the ER doctor comes back and she says, oh, wait, Lauren, you can't go home, girl. We just found out on your CAT scan that you have appendicitis and you're going to have to go to surgery this evening. I'm like, oh, Lord, I knew something was wrong and I'm not crazy. Mom ends up calling Dad back, and she tells him that the doctor came back with my CAT scan results and said that it wasn't just my ovaries, it was appendicitis, and that I was going to be going to surgery shortly. So Dad comes in and gets dressed and rushes up to see me before I get to go into surgery. And just as they're wheeling me to surgery, Dad walks in the main entrance, and he barely even gets to tell me that he loves me and that he's sorry for not believing me and all that before they wheeled me into surgery. I was practically rushed into surgery because I had to go. And so I ended up spending 3 days in the hospital. Monday evening, I had the surgery, and I came home Thursday afternoon. So when I woke up from surgery, not only did they have to take my appendix out, but they also had to attach a JP drain to my side of the appendix, and I wore that until I went back for my follow-up appointment with my doctor that did my surgery. So the next morning, my doctor came in my room, just like she did every day when she's checking on her patients. So she looks at me and goes, Lauren, you are very lucky that your appendix didn't rupture. And she told me had I waited any longer that my appendix would have ruptured and something bad could have happened. And had I listened to my dad that morning, my appendix would have ruptured and I probably might have even died from it. So sometimes you have to take action. You can't always honor your parents. Sorry about saying that, but true. So that whole week that I was in the hospital, my Lupron side effects kicked in, and they gave me all kinds of side effects, and it was frustrating. And then I went back a week later and had the JP drain removed out of my belly, and the scar is still there to this day. I know had I went immediately when my belly started hurting, that I wouldn't have had to have the JP drain. And while I was in the hospital, not only did the side effects of my Lupron kick in, I was also given IV and pill antibiotics. And when I got discharged from the hospital, I had to continue pill antibiotics until I went back to my doctor for my follow-up for my appendicitis surgery. And I don't mean to say anything bad about my dad, but I think he just misunderstood me. And I love my dad a lot because he's my dad and he's a wonderful dad. So, all right, thanks guys. I thought I would share this. And please, parents, if your child is a complainer and if they're complaining about any symptoms, regardless of how they're reacting, please get it checked out because it could be something serious. And autistic people are generally very honest about everything and they don't lie. All right, thank you. Bye.